Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We see people in the chat requesting Palantir. Of course, we'll talk about that. And tonight, I think we're gonna go back to Triumvirate tonight, right? If Cat's
Yeah.
voice is gonna be alive and well.
He says it sounds like he's going to muster through it one way or the other, even if we have to do more talking, or he can just talk in his little kitty saffetto. What do you call it? The Italian term for um, you know what is it? No, not falsetto.
Falsetto?
Anyway, like a softer voice.
I don't know.
Pianissimo.
He should just whisper. If he whispers,
Yeah.
that'll be okay. The cat whisperer.
Like yeah. All right. So anyway, yeah, like the VIX, well, you do your thing. The VIX basically it gapped up overnight again, but I think it's just trying to do another little gasp here before Powell flaps his gums tomorrow and says, oh, everything's unchanged and we're, everything in the future is uncertain.
Everything.
And then the market
that
say,
is
okay,
true.
well, we're on our own, and then they'll just go back to risk on.
Well, I think what we're seeing, anyways, with the SPY is it's all understandable to me because we closed at resistance on Friday and we opened underneath resistance this week. So of course, retracing is the most logical thing. So how far down is it going to go? Well, it could even retrace all the way back down for the SPY down to this 548.25 again, right? It could go down there and retest that fib another time for a successful back test. So don't get too excited yet. And I told you guys from last week as well, because resistance is there and it's not broken yet. So it's just range bound, and this range is pretty wide. So maybe a little bit more pain before any more gain, but patience, right? Patience. And then the QQQ, we are seeing the same exact thing. It hit the 50-week moving average last week. It closed right on it, opened up below it, went up there yesterday to hit it as resistance and come back down. So we're retesting the cloud right now as a support, but we do have the baseline down below at that 471.60. So that could be a target as well. And also that 1.272 is down there, 465. So this is no surprise to me. Getting rejected at resistance, can't break above, it's going to go lower. And IWM is in the process of trying to maintain this 198. So far, it's not being successful pre-market, but we do have that conversion line way down here at 190. So if it chose to do so, it could go down there. But ideally, I would like to see it stay around this 200-week moving average and actually close the week back above it for 2 consecutive weeks in a row. So we'll see if that can be if that can happen. But right now, a little bit of weakness. But in general, all the candles for the past couple of weeks have been on top of previous resistance zones. So I think that's the takeaway for me, that yeah, we're selling off this week, but we are still above previous resistance zones, which are still support. So this is not the end of the world. I think we're okay. I think there could be a little bit more pain, but inevitably it should start to break resistance as long as support does hold. And with Bitcoin, we can see that on the daily chart, it did start to go below the conversion line here at the 95,392. So if it chose to go back down to the 91,158 down there, I think that would be acceptable as well for a back test. But so far, it's not going really lower, right? All these little candles are still kind of like higher lows. So it's interesting to see that it's really kind of building a foundation at a higher level up here and not even attempting to grab this liquidity down here. So it just makes me wonder if it's going to be just real quick and do it one of these days, or if it's just going to start to continue higher. But Bitcoin is still very, very strong. And I think either way, go back to 91, break out towards 102. It doesn't matter to me because the trend is higher either way.
Yeah, I'd like to see a lot of these things, basically everything that we're looking at, just kind of go sideways for a while, right? Just build its base, and the longer it just goes sideways, then the stronger the final move up will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Do you have any
Um,
charts before we talk about Palantir? Everybody wants to know about it, but if you
sure,
want to
sure.
show your VIX chart, yeah.
Let me show my Bitcoin and my VIX charts here. Um, Here is Bitcoin. Thank you. And I just on this 1 hour chart, you can see it's in this little triangle right here is where it wanted to go up and then it just got pushed down, and now it's sort of reacting, bounce, bounce, bounce. Um, and the trend line, the support trend line indicated by these 2 points is exactly where it just now bounced again. So I think, I mean, it could do. Where's my little? This is zigzag tool. It could do this one more time. Actually, it could start to look like it's going to break out and then go back in about halfway and then break out. If it doesn't go all the way back to the bottom trend line, these triangles are tricky. Sometimes it doesn't. It pretends to break out this way, pretends to break out that way, and then takes off. But I don't know. I've been seeing this a lot lately, where it does this in a triangle. It starts to break out, but then goes back in, but then doesn't go back very much farther than this. So this is what I'm looking for next in Bitcoin. And you'll know it as long as we don't go any lower than 93,784. And then, or the VIX chart. Let's see. I've been enjoying tracking the VIX here and making decisions based on what it's. Here was the weekend gap up, and then we have this morning's gap up, and so the fear factor is just a little bit higher this morning than yesterday morning, but I expect it'll close this gap too. And this gap almost got closed, but not quite. So there's still a little bit of uh, I think this will just come back down to on the 1 hour chart. It's over my moving average 75, and maybe it'll come up to here. Go look on the 4 hour chart, and there is the Ichimoku baseline right up here. The 4 hour chart about 25, 26, $25, 26. And I think it's gonna, maybe I don't know, maybe Wednesday it'll get there. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm not sure. It seems to be doing this a lot though, so maybe it'll gap up again one more time. It'll come down today, then gap up tomorrow, then come down after Powell. All right, that's it. Let's talk about Palantir.
Yeah, I got I got a couple Palantir charts first here that I wanted to bring
Go
up
right
and
ahead.
show. So let's go to my Palantir. So we got this log scale again here with the log scale fibs. And if you watch my Friday weekly update, I did talk about would it actually need to come back down to retest this 104? And I did say maybe not, right? And the reason why I said maybe not is because if I looked at my linear scale fib or linear scale again, we can see that my blue level right here is actually around that 114 level, and price has been gravitating around there all after hours yesterday and pre-market today. So it would be kind of just a back test of that zone, and maybe it does not need to go back test that linear or that log scale fib at 104. But could it go back down there? Of course it could, right? There is that possibility. But I like the market symmetry on this linear scale simply with the angles here. That blue angle was perfect, and then the orange level was a perfect breakout level, and then back testing these arcs here, and this is the 45-degree angle. So I just think this 114 really has a good chance of holding right here. And if it doesn't, then we can go back to our log scale fib right here of 104.21 for looking for a successful back test. But regardless, to me, this is going to the 150s, right? I think it's going to be working on a back test in this zone somewhere, and it's going to be going to the 1.618 fib. So no matter what, this is a super bullish chart and very good earnings. And I think we're going to see this just continue higher after this consolidation period. So it's not a concern to me, but that's what I said the other day, right? I said, don't be buying up here because you're just chasing at this point when it is a resistance. So don't buy double tops, don't buy resistance, and everything is a double top until it's not. So just be patient. And I think the 1.618 will come.
Very cool. And I've got to look at Palantir too. I just want to show everybody. I show my coordinates here on the left side. From the beginning of time, the all-time low of $5.92 right to here, this February 2025 high of 125.41, and then that terrible, with the market correction that brought it all the way down to 65.40. Do I have the years right? Yeah, that's right, 25.25. This becomes the 1, the 2, and now the wave 3 is huge. And just to get to the top of wave 1, if it goes to 764.382, well, then the 382 is initially resistance support. It kind of looks like it could be testing that as support now. So I'm expecting 111.05 to hold right here, whereas the 8-hour Ichimoku cloud baseline is creeping up to it. And then let's see if it doesn't go all the way to 156.69. And then something, I don't know, October brings it all the way down to 111 again. And then it can keep going from there. That's just what I'm looking at right now. So that's my current thesis. Just a crazy Palantir 764.382. Why don't I have a 132? Because I guess I thought that would be a little too nuts, but I don't know. Yeah, this is a Palantir chart that goes to 350. So let's see if this happens. It'll at least behave somewhat to this. You can see the 50% was kind of lines up with the previous all-time high. Um, Going by Matt's method here to this top, 127.2% of it's 141, which lines up kind of with the 618, and kind of the 150% extension lines up with my 764. His 141.4 is about $150. So yeah, this is the zone I'm looking for next in Palantir. So don't be scared. This is just a buy opportunity again. Back to you, Matt.
All right. Yeah, I got MicroStrategy here. So gonna just take a look at that. We can see that resistance also was yesterday, right? So we did close above the baseline last week, but this week the baseline went up, right? Because it's the past 26 periods. So it is a moving average as well. And we can see that price is still below it. So 387.26, that's your resistance for the week. And your support, we can kind of look at the daily chart just to get an idea. And it's still nicely above the conversion line. So that's 371.45. So that could be a good look for MSTR, right? Trying to stabilize on top of that. It's still a really bullish chart above all the indicators. But I mean, if Bitcoin did want to go back and retest the 91 zone, lower 90s, then I think we could see maybe a back test of that 340 because it is a volatile name. But still, the momentum is to the upside. It's above a lot of things right now. And all I'm paying attention to now is this baseline to break and start to make a higher high from back in January. Because when that really happens, then I think the acceleration to the upside can begin. So MicroStrategy still very nice, but again, at resistance, be a little bit cautious.
And then I want to show my MicroStrategy chart. I'll be kind of quick on this one. So I'm looking for just a minimum of from the all-time high, wave 1, to the recent higher low, wave 2. Just a 382.236 takes it to 429.30 next. You can see you're in the 4-hour chart. Right now, price is just hanging right around the at the far Ichimoku cloud baseline. MicroStrategy, when Bitcoin moves up, MicroStrategy moves up faster. When Bitcoin moves down, MicroStrategy moves down faster because it's sort of like this fear factor. So if Bitcoin 23.6% fib should be support going into this. So if MicroStrategy suddenly came down really fast, I think the 3 filled up really well. You can see the 8-hour Ichimoku baseline is actually moved up a little bit overnight. It's about 354 now, not 351. And yeah, I'm looking for at least 429.30 with a back test at 351. And then the heart of the third wave takes it to 8. So, and that's like 134% higher from where price is now. All right, that's my MicroStrategy.
Very good. I got Grab on deck here. So we can see Grab has been battling this big 382 boss. So not sure if Grab is really ready to break out just yet. We can see it's continuously getting rejected at that fib level. So that is going to be the focus. 491, break above that. If it cannot continue to break above, if it keeps getting rejected, then there is a potential to going back towards the cloud again around the 450s, retest that. But it's a bullish setup, right? It broke out above this orange arc and it's been back testing it all the way down, held, lost the liquidity down there back on April 7th, bounced massively. Now it's just trying to battle the final boss before breaking out.
I love that final boss. I've got Grab too. Just a quick view for me is as a fib retracement. I drew this one before. It hasn't changed. The all-time high of 1811 to the all-time low of $2.19. 382, 236, 618. You can see the market's already resisting right here ahead of the 20 got sell order blocks waiting at the 827 for the 38.2% fib. And then this would, and if it did 32236, I would be looking for the 618. It could go, I mean, eventually it is going to go to 786, right? Because then goes to 786, gets rejected, gets over it, and then makes up to the 127 to the 1. But for now, just getting real close, you can see what happened is it started approaching the 23.6, couldn't get there, got kicked back down to 11.4 precisely, couldn't get higher, went below that. But now we're recovering. So I think this next run at the 23.6 will be more successful. So look for resistance at 595 next. And then once it gets over that, 827.
All right. I got Nvidia. We can see Nvidia here. I'm just mainly focusing on these recent fibs. So from the January high to the low that we had back in April. But we can see that the 120s is still massive resistance up here, 121, 122 with that green level of my GAN. But ultimately, on its retrace back up, it's getting stuck at the 50% level, which is understandable. So that was a previous support zone, flipped to resistance. So we can't break above. We might go back down to the 107 zone, but I think this is still starting to develop nicely. I think it actually does want to hold this 107 this time around, even if it does go down there, because now it looks like it also was a previous support and it is wanting to be a current support again. So we are looking better and better for Nvidia. The steps are there to continue towards the 120s, but I think this is the big zone right here, the 121, 122 still. And until it can break above that, we can't get super optimistic about all-time highs. We've got to be cautious at that 120 zone, but I think it can get there. It just might take some time to break above this 115 area for Nvidia.
All right, I've got Lumen Technologies next here. And this one is, I'm tracking it as both a retrace and a fib extension. Retracement fibs on the left from its all-time high, well, not all-time high. No, from the high of 1901 to the low of 78 cents. Let's see, we got more than 382, 236. It kind of went to this 50% fib and then came back down to about the 11.4 on the retracement fibs on the left. But this makes a nice 1, 2, and then to the wave 3, sub wave 1, sub wave 2. I'm looking for this 382, 236 on the fib extensions on the right. So 666 is my next target after it gets past 526. So 526 resistance, but then gives way to 666, tests back to 526, and then the heart of the third wave takes us to 1481, which from where price is now, it's about 250% higher. So Lumen's looking like a really good risk rewards setup from right here. Oh, I want to share my XRP chart, even though XRP is your thing.
No, XRP.
This is a
new chart.
This is yeah, it's an ETF that you can use your 401k money or whatever you want to get exposure to XRP. I've been playing around with it. My cost basis is kind of like smack dab in the middle up here at 32.78. We're down lower right now. I'll keep DCAing in, but I think let's see. Yeah, I did this as the initial. I might have to change it, but right now, my initial extension goes from where it started, the all-time low of 2250 to 3328, and then right to here, two, and so then it got to 764, 236, almost the 1236. Then the 764 should have held, and it didn't. So now I think I'm gonna have to move my points here. Let's call this the one, and this the two. So if it doesn't go lower than this, then at minimum 3480 next, and then back to my cost basis around 3248. Let's just look for that next. And if it does go lower, then I'll have a different chart for you. But right now, something like this. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, looking for to get back above 3248 to 3488 at least next. That's my XXRP chart.
Very good. Yeah, it's kind of too young for me, but I can do Apple here. Let me go to my Apple chart.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's not young at
Apple,
all.
yeah, I got. What's that?
That one's not young at all. It's been
Oh yeah,
around.
Apple's not.
Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead, Apple.
All right, Apple. We can see that it got rejected by a lot of things here, and it's basically at an important resistance zone. This 1.272 fib right here, which is at 203.28. You got everything there. You got the 100-week moving average, the conversion line. You got that fib there, and even the bottom of the cloud, and it cannot stay above it. So Apple actually looks weaker than a lot of things that I'm looking at in the QQQ and the Nasdaq. So we got to look at resistance here, and if it can't break above it, it does have a risk of actually going back towards the 180s down below here, maybe even that previous 2021 high. So cannot get too excited about this price development. It had plenty of opportunities trying to break this resistance above, but every single time it kind of got rejected by that conversion line and just kept on going down as resistance. So until this 200 zone, 201, 202, 203 gets broken, I got to be cautious on Apple here because it looks like it has potential to keep drifting lower.
Right. But at the end of the day, what everyone's worried that Apple's not going to make as much money because they can't make their phones cheap enough in China anymore. But they'll figure that problem out, and then they're not going to just stop being a company because they can't make their stuff cheaply in China anymore. I think the worst of it with the tariff scare is done, and all we're getting now is reactions to the reactions to the reactions of the tariff bomb. But no, I think they'll figure out solutions, and then Apple will continue on up. So just look at it as buying opportunities. Though I myself don't treat Apple too boring for me. It doesn't move fast enough.
Yeah, it's boring. All right, let's see here. You got anything in the works? If not, I can jump on to
Sure.
Baba.
I got Rocket Lab. My
Okay.
Rocket Lab. Let's see. This is again. It's another chart where I just simply took it all the way back to the all-time low of $4.20 to the all-time high of $33.34, and then this higher low at 1420 gives us the one, the two, and then now we're into wave three and wave three subwave one. If it just 36, then we get 2533 next. It's already gotten out of the over the 22. I'm sorry, the 23.6% fib. So it's already sort of made this. This should be support when it comes back. I think it wants to go to 2533 next at least, and the sell order blocks are up there too. You can see they're kind of trying to catch that and maybe a little bit more. If it goes past that, then start looking at the fibs above because I'm not 100% sure it wouldn't just keep going faster and faster. But right now, 2533 is just the minimum I would expect it to do. And if it does do 2533 back to 2108, then the 123.6 is next at $50.22. And where prices right now is about 127, 128% higher from where prices right now. So it's kind of in the middle of what's going on, but it's not a bad. The ideal place is to get it or lower. Um, But yeah, I think most of you already have done that. So there you go, Rocket Lab, and then this thing tops out at 79.36. It was 81.21, but now it's 79.36. I don't know why that says that. There you go, Rocket Lab.
Very nice. All right, I got some Baba on deck here. Baba. Yeah, so Alibaba, it got pretty bullish after this big back test here, right? Beautiful 200 week and top of the Ichimoku cloud back test and bounce, but we are approaching this big 50% fib again, 136. So the true opportunities was all the way down here in this liquidity zone, and now it is in the middle of a range, getting a little bit closer to resistance. So can't be too optimistic near resistance, a little bit more cautious there, but it is looking like it kind of wants to get there, especially pre-market. It is up a little bit, right? And big zone though, so we'll see, right? But I would say the range we're in right now, the 122 up to like the 120 or 136, so it's kind of in the middle of a range right now. But I don't like to chase these things. I like to get the opportunities when they present themselves, like it did down here. So either it's got to break this resistance with confirmation, like a big bullish engulfing candle breakout, or it got to go back and retest maybe like the 114s, 111s again before going higher. So that's the way I like it. Either break out or retest a major support.
Well, you got another one there? Because I thought I had Palo Alto. I have to redraw it.
Yeah, I can do Poet. POET, Poet Technologies. I have just the moving averages on this chart, and it's right at the 200 week moving average and on top of the cloud. So it was a nice back test of the 100 week and the bottom of the cloud, and now it's actually trying to get a little bit more bullish here. So is it ready to break above that 432? Maybe, right? It got rejected last week, and it's still getting rejected this week. So this is something that we do have to pay attention to. And if we did just pull up a quick fib on this thing, maybe from the previous high right here back in 2021, let's just see where it's at on that. And yeah, it's actually maintaining that 618 fib. So we can just consider this really a support and resistance zone at the same time, which is really just range bound. And I think if it can actually start to break above that 436 zone right here, then I think we can start to see something very positive, right? So that's really what I'm looking at. 436 and maybe the 432 really needs to start breaking out above in order to get more bullish. So just watch that zone. Right now, it has the potential to even go back and back test the cloud at the lower fours, maybe $3.99, $4 zone, right? But it's just really stuck in this zone right here. So I think it could be just in that wedge maybe for a few more weeks until it really tries to break out. So it looks positive, but it has to prove it wants to break out first.
All right, I do have Palo Alto Networks here. This is becoming a quite a mature chart, actually. It's kind of nice. So from the pandemic low, 682 high in 2022 to the 6611 just before 2023. No, in 2023. So 1, 2, and then this is all of wave 3. I think we have to move it over to here. So here's your wave 3, sub 1, sub 2, 3, 4. I think this is wave 3 right there. And then this is your wave 4 back here. So instead of it did do like 764, 382, went past the 1382 to the 1618 eventually. Then it did drop a little below the 100% fib, but that makes me think I should put the 2618 on here. This is probably going to go at minimum to the 238, 270, 74 to possibly into the 2618 at 291.01. So from where price is right now, somewhere between 45 and 55% higher. It looks like it might want to back test this weekly Ichimoku baseline at 176.47. possibly. I don't know. I could, I'll come back and I'll post a public version of what I think the smaller version of the setup will be, the smaller degree setup. But yeah, Palo Alto Networks is looking good from here. It's just a little doesn't move as fast as I'd like it to, so I don't trade it. Oh yeah, hymns and all that stuff. That was exciting last night.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I was just like, I bought HIMZ after I saw price drop down here to this. Once it like hit right about 38.54, I kept trying to buy it, and I couldn't. You can't do a market order on my platform after hours, so I kept plugging in numbers and not quite hitting it, and always being a little behind. So I ended up getting him somewhere around here. We're a little bit lower than that right now. 38.71. It wants to go to 45.27 next, and then 36.58 has got to be support, and it already kind of did that after hours when it came down. Let me do a 1 hour chart. Yeah, it's trying to get to 45.27. 36.58 would be its support at minimum. Maybe it goes past the 382 and up to the 50% or even the 618 up here. There's a lot of sell order blocks up here at the 764, 6801. I'm expecting him to just keep doing crazy. So I think, yes, I think last night was a chance to buy in. Maybe it'll be a chance to buy some more today. Uh, Anything above 36.58 is a really good deal, and that's below 45.27. So, where we are now, from $38 all the way to 36. Add more hymns if you don't have it yet. 2x HIMZ. Yeah, my cost basis is 21.84, and here in pre-market we're at 20.80. I guess I could have waited to buy it this morning, but yeah. So this one went to almost the 7.6. These are fib extensions, and the 382 is sort of holding a support right here. So I thought that based on the HIMS chart, this was a great place to buy in, and I still think that. So on HIMZ, anything near $20.47 is great, because I think what's going to happen next is 36.50, which is in percentage terms from where price is right now, that's 75% higher. If you catch it at the 382 at 2047, that's 79% higher to the 1382. So yeah, I like this HIMZ action trading for HIMS. All right, Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I'll do CLSK and Mara here, so we'll go jump on to that. Right here. All right, let me switch screens. So yeah, so here's my CLSK chart. It actually does look like it kind of wants to stabilize, maybe even on top of that 787 conversion line. So that's what I'm watching. It was a big breakout last week or the last couple of weeks, and it got rejected at the 200-week moving average, and then went down, and the 787 held as support. So I would say it's range bound, and it looks like it is closer to support than resistance. So it doesn't look too scary right here, in my opinion, because it could be the start of a trend reversal, breakout back test at a higher level, right? And now we're seeing kind of the same thing with Mara, and Mara is with the 1260 conversion line still above it as well. So another breakout and possibly trend reversal back test of that downtrend. So even though it is like very, very volatile and it is down 9% for the week, I think that's normal for the Bitcoin miners here for the potential to stabilize at a higher level. So we got this little quick V bottom. Now it's time to build a new base at a higher level, and I think it can continue its journey higher.
All right, I'll do Wolf, and then I'll let you finish up the show. And we're gonna, try to do the Triumvirate show tonight at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So here's Wolfspeed. It's the WOLF, not to be confused with the miner WULF. I was looking up this company. I was curious about it. I found out that they're actually headquartered in Durham, North Carolina. That's where I live. They're in Research Triangle Park. they've got a huge facility. They used to be called Cree back in the 80s, and they've always been doing silicon wafer type work. And it was really exciting in 2021 when it went from $30 to $142. And then they had some problems with the manufacturing plant that they've got here in Durham in the park, but they brought 2 other facilities online. They've had a CEO shakeup. They've been losing money. They're gonna close down that Durham plant down, just the manufacturing plant, not their headquarters. And they've got the plant in New York that's looking to be much more profitable. And there's a second location, in Selma, North Carolina. Anyway, they're really focused on trying to turn this thing around. It's a big company. They've got a lot of capital invested just in land and buildings and stuff, and they've got a lot of I would say it's a pretty I wouldn't risk a lot of money, but it's a really enticing risk reward setup, from where price is now about $4.08. Um, just to retest, why does it say 12.3? This should be 11.4. So this is a retrace from its recent low all the way back to its all-time high of 142.33, just to 11.45. So even if it just tries and fails, 378% higher, just to fail at getting above the 11.4%. And then if they actually do turn it around, and they've got money coming in from the government, from the CHIPS Act and all that stuff. So if they can, it's 1,374% just to the 382. So yeah, I'm buying some Wolfspeed, and I'm going to gamble and see what we can get, how far it can go from here. And of course, your stop should be below the all-time low of $2.06. There you go, Wolfspeed, a lovely gamble to try out. Gosh, did we even talk about Tesla today?
I don't think so,
I'll
but
let
it's just range bound anyway. Yeah,
it's
it's not
it's just boring.
nothing
It's
too
no You
exciting.
could watch yesterday's show. You could watch yesterday's show, and it's exactly the same for today.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, Matt, how about
And we'll talk about it
you take
tonight
us
too.
out? We will.
Yeah, so we're just range bound guys. I think we could go a little bit lower before higher, but still, we hit resistance last week, so this is not out of the ordinary. So just be patient with the market. But I think these previous resistance levels that we flipped last week to a support, I think they have potential to hold. So we'll watch that going forward. And if so, I think we can stabilize around current levels or just a little bit lower. So until then, we'll see you tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time PM.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It'll be fun. We'll get Kat to talk about his trip some. It won't just all be
Yeah,
stocks.
that's
Yeah.
right.
All right. Well, thanks, Gary. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you tonight. Good luck out there
Yeah.
today.
All right. Bye, guys.